at the risk of being shot down, the numbers of people who have been killed on the streets of the Philippines since you came to power 6 weeks ago have risen to around 1,000. Now, I know you have been contemptuous of your critics, but they are accusing you of unleashing a national death squad. Where is this going to end? Because some are saying that the social fabric of the Philippines is at risk here.
Good. That's a very good question. It can happen. It happens in America. They're shooting the blacks there. It shows on TV. It shows on TV. What's the difference between America and the Philippines? Nothing. So what is surprising here is surprising to us. We see a policeman there shooting a black guy there. How many times had it happened in the past? That's why you have the violent demonstration. So, would it surprise you and me? Almost the same. One case only, 3 cases here. So what? It involves the same principle. Say, for every 1 black there dead, you have about 5 here. And so, does it make this world more livable because there is less killing? When you shoot a black there dead, what is that? Is that not appalling? When you bomb Syria and Iraq, and you kill communities, and you kill children and old people and hospital, what is it? And why is it that United States is not doing anything? I do not read anybody in that stupid body complaining about the stench there of that. Look at the iconic boy that was taken out from the rubble. And he was made to sit in the ambulance, and we saw it. So what's the difference? Life of a criminal, or maybe he was really rubbed out. We cannot discount it. But what do you think that the Americans did to the black people there? Is that not rubbing out also? I say, well, it was just one community there, one state of America. Well, but you have there about 10. So what's the difference? Are we here for the counting or the basic principles of human rights? Almost the same.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yo, y'all heard it straight from the man's mouth himself. So let's go ahead and get into it. What is good, what is good, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, you know who I be, Good Doc, Dr. Mike TV, back again, once again. Going back to the future. Best way for me to put it. I'm going back into the archives of prior situations that have happened in the Philippines in reference to a couple of talking points that took place between a reporter, President Obama, who was president at the time, and of course, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. Now, I want to say this was roughly about 4 years ago. I believe that, for lack of a better term, Obama was trying to flex his muscle just a little bit. That's the best way for me to put it. You know, being the American ally and the fact that the Americans were probably one of the biggest funders or, spenders in the Philippines or providing aid for the Philippines at the time. I think that whenever this whole EJK situation was happening, the extrajudicial killings in the Philippines, I think everybody wanted answers. Everybody wanted to know why the senseless killings were happening and all of this shit. So it brings about the reporter who I could care less what his name is. And the fact that he asked him such a very intriguing question, but from a standpoint as if he was trying to put himself on a pedestal and talk down to the president when he was asking the questions about the view of the EJK and the extrajudicial killings and all of this is happening and why it's happening and things like that. So the way that he worded the question was almost as if any response that Duterte could give was either going to paint him in a negative light or basically, I'm not going to say shame him, but not necessarily make him feel guilty either, but it was going to paint him in a negative light, or it was going to shed light on the mercilessness of him as a president, trying to paint him as if he was this really, really evil person. You know, no matter how he answered the question, but the way the words were phrased, it was supposed to make him look bad. But being a lawyer, prior lawyer, I don't know if he still practices, he's a lawyer, I don't know if he still practices, but being a lawyer and mayor of Davao City for 21 years, he was unfazed by the question, because as you hear his response, ladies and gentlemen, he was basically saying, look, whatever's going on here, how is that any different than the killings of African American or blacks in the United States? Tell me the difference. That was basically the premise of what he was saying. Tell me the difference of what I'm doing here, trying to eradicate drug dealers and pushers and things like that, and you want to refer to it as merciless killings and things like that, but how is that any different than what is happening in the United States, where you're shooting unarmed black men, etc.? And as you can tell, the man had zero response for that. And although, again, this was a 4-year-old video, this is not breaking news. This is not something that was said yesterday or a month before or a year or so ago. Ladies and gentlemen, this was said 4 years ago. I was still in the Philippines when that happened. And when I heard about it, I couldn't stop laughing, because I was like, man, I said, he served that bitch up, didn't he? That's exactly how I felt. So I feel like everything that he said in that moment is just as relevant then as it is right now, and even more so relevant now than it probably was back then, in reference to everything going on in the world today. Now, I don't really want to focus on the politics of it all. Don't necessarily want to focus on, you know, the individual cases that we've heard about on the news and things like that. We know this shit's existing. I want to focus on it from the perspective of why I feel that us as African Americans, black people, or whatever shade of other you are outside the United States, why I feel we have to really put some spec on that man's name for bringing that up when being questioned and faced with something trying to make him look bad. Because again, how many people outside of the United States are even really talking about it right now? Unless they feel like they're forced to, how many people outside of the United States are even really covering stories like this? And again, he wasn't necessarily focused on any particular story. He was just saying at that time, what is happening in the United States and what is apparent and what is visual. All the way in the Philippines, guys, they know what's going down in the United States of America in reference to racial inequality, things of that nature, okay? So for him to go out on a limb and say it, knowing he really didn't even have to include that in his argument, the fact that he brung it up, I think it's in his mind. And even he sees it as fucked up. You know, anybody and everybody should see it as fucked up. But the fact that he's one that's willing to vocally say it out loud. Now, again, let me preface this, because again, everybody's going to have their opinions about the man. Okay. How you personally feel about him, I want you to eliminate that out of your thought process right now. Personal feelings aside, okay? Just try your best to alleviate yourself from personal feelings, because I want you to focus on the statement at hand and the fact that you got to respect the fact that he actually brought it up in his argument. Not necessarily to make himself look any worse or to make himself look good, but the fact that he was like, yo, how is what I'm doing any different than what's going on against a particular group of individuals in the United States? Did he deny that he was doing it? Nah. So it's not as if he's trying to hide what he's doing, you know, based on human rights and all of that above. Again, I'm not going to sit there and say that everybody's going to be on board with the way that he was choosing to handle the war on drugs situation in the Philippines. Okay, I'm not going to say everybody's going to be on board with that. But I do believe that his points, his talking points, for those that were able to understand it, you got to be able to put some spec on that man's name for bringing it to light. And regardless of personal feelings, it's really hard to argue against that. It's really hard to argue against that particular case because it's something you see on a regular basis nowadays, it seems like. Being back home sucks. I can deal with it. I keep my head down, I keep it pushing, nobody bothers me, I don't bother anybody else, but it sucks. And everything that he said at that particular moment in time was on point. How funny is it that 4 years later, everything that he said 4 years ago is still on point and accurate, if not even more pinpointed and accurate? So I feel that us as African Americans, man, black, African, whatever, you gotta at least give the man respect in that regard. And I feel this is why black people should put some respect on Duterte's name. As a president, a foreign president, bringing to light situations that everybody knows exist. It's not as if it's a secret or anything. It's not as if the cat's out of the bag now. But the fact that he even remotely brought it up and used it as a talking point in an argument against why he's doing what he's doing in his own country, for some, it may leave a lot to be desired. But for most, it's like, well, damn, he sees it. He recognizes it. But where y'all at? And the topic of conversation can go a whole lot deeper. I want to keep it at surface level for the moment. Because at the end of the day, for me, I think that... How can I say this? There is no easy way to bring up topics of conversation like this. It's just not. And I kind of feel like when somebody else does it for you, I mean, I'm not saying that we needed a president from a foreign country to bring it up because everybody knows about it and everybody's talking about it now. But when it's coming from somebody who is already in a position of power, you understand? That's bringing it up and really shedding light on it, and ironically shedding light on it during a period of time where the president himself was African American. For those, yeah, we'll just say African American. For the sake of the video, he was African American. I don't know, man. I kind of felt like that was a jab and a right hook for that one, man. He might have caught the cross for that. So, I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say. I personally feel like, regardless of personal opinions, policies, things like that, however you feel about the man personally, I think that the fact that he was able to bring up situations like that and really shed light from his own perspective of what's going on in the United States, I felt like that was a good look on his behalf. Now, whether he was using it to cover up something else, however you guys, because everybody's got their own opinions, of course, I'm just here to just speak what I think to be true about the situation. Leave your comments down in the section below. Do you believe that he was right in the way he conducted his speech? Do you think that he was right and accurate in the way in which he produced everything that he said? It's not necessarily based on statistics or facts or data. It's just something that is plain to see. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what he was trying to say. Do you agree with him or do you not agree with him? Do you believe he was just trying to cover it up, trying to make himself look good and all this, that, and the other? However you feel, ladies and gentlemen, leave it down in the comment section below because I think this could get very, very interesting once it picks up. Again, this video is pretty old. I'm not going to sit there and act like it was a brand new video because it's not. But I think that even though it was a video that was produced maybe 4 years ago or more, I want to say it was roughly about 2016, maybe. No, it could have been like 2015, I think, maybe 2015. Because again, Obama was still in office and, I think the elections was November of 2016. Yeah. So it would have been like 2015 or something like that. 2015, 2014. It's roughly maybe 6 years ago. If you believe that Duterte was accurate in his approach to the topic of conversation, go ahead and let me know. If you think that he was wrong and he was just using it to make himself look good, let me know in the comment section below. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough of this. Been a good doc, Dr. Mike TV. Hope you guys enjoyed the channel. If you did, please feel free to share, comment, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. All right, with that being said, the good doc is officially out. At least Nico, which means I'm going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Sincerely do. Makita. Mabuhay. Peace.